Hey, it's Cashflow Mike, and today I'm going to be talking about pricing. Pricing your goods and services the right way. So let's kick it off with a truth bomb. Pricing is a hidden power move. It is a profit lever. It's not just a number, it's a signal, and it tells your clients how you see yourself. It determines how much you can reinvest, how fast you can grow, and whether you can actually pay yourself. So today we're tackling the big question. How do I price my products and services the right way? Because guess what? Most small businesses are undercharging, and not just by a little, I'm talking about a lot. And the worst part, they don't even know it. So let's fix that. What do you think most businesses get wrong about pricing? Let's just start with what not to do. Most business owners will do this. They'll just pick a price based on one of these conditions. What their competitors charge, what they feel is fair, what they think people will pay. Well, that's guessing, right? And guessing is going to lead to razor-thin margins, burnout, and constant cash flow problems. So here's the deal. Pricing has to be intentional. It's one of the only levers in your business where a small change can create a big impact. So if you raise your prices by just 10% and your costs stay the same, that increase flows right to your bottom line. It goes right in your pocket. And that could be the difference between paycheck to paycheck living or profit you can reinvest in a future you can grow. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to get really clear on our cost. We're going to be able to set a minimum viable price and then factor in your value, because when we do, we're going to be building a pricing structure that supports growth. So the first thing we have to do is figure out what our break-even price is, right? So before we mark up anything, you need to know this number. What is your break-even price? This is the floor, the absolute minimum you can charge and still keep the lights on. So here's the formula. I want you to take total cost plus variable cost, so total fixed cost plus total variable cost. If I say it right? So total fixed cost plus total variable cost. And then we're going to divide it by the number of units we intend to sell or the number of clients we intend to get. So total fixed cost, let me talk about fixed cost. I've said it in the past, fixed costs are those things that you have to pay even if you don't make a sale. We're talking rent, we're talking utilities, we're talking subscriptions to software, those type of things. They don't care if you make a sale or not, you still have to make the payment. Now, variable costs are things that you pay when you make a sale. Like you take inventory off the shelf, the cost of that inventory becomes cost of goods sold. That's a variable cost. A commission you pay, you only pay it because you made a sale, is a variable cost. Then we're going to divide that by the number of units we think we're going to sell or that we know we can sell, or the clients. That's your break-even price, the do not go below, right? So let's walk through an example. First of all, you've got $10,000 in monthly fixed expenses. You got rent, you got salaries, you got subscriptions, just like we talked about. And your average variable cost to deliver this service or this product is $25. So $10,000 in monthly expense, plus every time we sell a product or deliver a service, it costs us $25 in either wage or cost of goods sold. And if we just think we're going to sell 500 units, then the math works out like this. 10,000 is the total fixed cost, plus we have to do a little bit of multiplication here, $25, and every time we sell it, which is 500 times, so we multiply that together, and then we're going to divide it by the 500 times that we do this. So 10,000 plus 25 times 500 divided by 500 equals $45, right? So if you do the math, you write it down on a piece of paper, that's what you're going to get is $45. So that's the minimum cost. That's your break even. If you charge $45, you're just surviving, you're not thriving. You don't stop there. Now we got to figure out what the target profit margin is that we need. This is where gross profit comes into play. Now remember, gross profit is the most important number that's on the income statement. It is the only place you can get cash to pay for those total fixed expenses. So let's just assume we want to get 30% gross profit margin. Why? Maybe that's the industry average. That's, we should at least do what the industry average is, or maybe even a little better. So 30%. Well, to get there to the profit that we need, I have to do this. I have to say, if my gross profit is going to be 30%, then that means my cost of goods sold is 70%. 70 plus 30 equals 100. 100 would be the sales price. So if 45 is my cost, I'm going to divide that number by 0.7, because that means that $45 is 70% of my sales price. And that's going to give us a target price, or a price for our profit, of $64.29. So hey, that's the number that we'll use, because when we do, it's going to give us a true 30% gross profit margin. Just try it for yourself. Take 64.29 and subtract 45. The difference will be 30% of the sales price, 64.29. Now that you got price that covers your cost and creates room to grow, now that we got that, we need to factor in your value. So we already know we can cover our cost. We already know we're going to get a little bit of gross profit. What about the value? This is where pricing moves from math to mindset, right? You're not just selling your time. You're not just selling the widgets or the clothes or whatever it is. You're selling transformation. You got to ask yourself, what pain am I really solving for this customer? And what result do they walk away with? Because how much is that worth to them? If you can solve their pain and they walk away with the result they're looking for, how much will they pay for that? This is the value that you're going to add to the price. So if you're a bookkeeper who's trying to help a business owner stop guessing about their finances and finally pay themselves consistently, that's not a $200 a month service. That's thousands in stress relief and peace of mind, right? Thousands. It's not $200 a month, it's thousands. So here's the exercise. I want you to list your core outcomes, not just your deliverables, the reports and stuff you're going to give them. What are the real outcomes they're going to get? What do they get by working with you? I want you to write out those outcomes, and how much they're worth if your client had to solve them another way. So let me say that differently. These outcomes that we come up with, how much would it cost your client to solve them using some other method? Not you, not your techniques, some other method. And we want to use that as the basis for your pricing, not just your time, not just your effort, not just the math that we did up above. Value-based pricing is about capturing a portion of your result that you deliver, right? That's what you're trying to do. Not charging for the hours that it takes to do it. It's the value you're delivering. You're getting a portion of that back to you. But speaking of value pricing, let's talk about some pricing models, because you got to pick the one that's going to match your business. Not every business can get away with value pricing. So now that you understand your break even, and we can probably put a value on your service, and well, we need to talk about the delivery. How are we going to deliver this price? And here's a few models that work in the real world. First of all, we're going to talk about cost plus pricing. It's the easiest place to start, and it's the easiest way to underprice your goods. Use it only if you've nailed your cost structure, right? So don't use cost plus unless you know your exact prices, because especially in contracting, things like that, costs can get out of control real fast. The next thing is value-based pricing, what we've talked about up above. This is best when your service has a measurable outcome, or it's going to solve a high impact problem. If you're putting a lot of dollars in your client's pocket, or if you're solving a huge headache for them, then it's worth more money because you have a measurable outcome. You've got something you can base your service against. They want a problem solved. There's also tiered pricing, right? So tiered pricing is great for service businesses that offer like a basic, a standard, and a premium version of whatever you're doing, right? So you let the clients choose their level of investment. What services do they think they need? Sometimes they don't need it. Like I've got a professional package that has CPE credit and it has certification. If you're the type of person who doesn't need that, that's not the package for you. You can just back that off and save a little bit of money. Such as what I charge, subscription pricing, right? If you can deliver ongoing monthly value, then this model is going to create predictable revenue. Bookkeepers, marketing firms, tech support companies, educators like me, they use this all the time. Same with software. So here's a pro tip on that. I want you to tie your pricing model to how your customers want to buy. If they want flexibility, give them options. If they want predictability, offer them a flat monthly fee. Right? Try to figure out where your customers are and meet them in that space. So let me tell you about a story, a freelancer who doubled their revenue, right? I worked with a freelance graphic designer. She was talented, book solid. She was charging $75 an hour. And here's what was happening. She was constantly overworked. She was chasing invoices. Clients were treating her like a task rabbit, really not a strategic partner at all, right? And we shifted everything. I helped her design 3 brand packages. There was a starter for $2,000, a growth package at $5,000, and a complete package at $10,000. No more hourly, because everything was now based on the outcome. Here's what we focused on. We focused on the transformation that each package was going to deliver. It was clear deliverables and there was a clear timeline. Tiered benefits made it easy for clients to self-select, right? I only need this much service versus that much service. The result, she cut her client load in half, right? She lost some clients over it, doubled her income. She was doing less work for more money. And she finally had some breathing room to grow where she could take on some different clients that would want her type of service for the price that she was, asking. Because pricing gave her the control. Took it away from the customer in some ways, but gave her the control to choose what customer she wanted to work with at what level. So here it is. I want you to take your own action, right? All these videos I do, I want you to take action at the end. I want to teach you something up top and take action on the bottom. So here's how you're going to move forward. Number one, go calculate your break-even price. Then I want you to decide what results you really deliver. What is it that you do? What's the promise you make? Then let's choose a pricing model that's going to fit your delivery style and your goals. What are you trying to do? I'm trying to build a lifestyle friendly company, which means I want the business to support my lifestyle, not the other way around. Then I want you to build your first pricing tier, even if it's just 2 options. Let's have 2 options for the client. And most importantly, don't let fear write your price tag, right? Price for value, you're worth it. Price for sustainability, price for the business you're building, not the one that's barely surviving now. If you want help with pricing, you want help with budgeting, you want help for cash flow strategy, hey, you know where to find me. I'm Cashflow Mike, and pricing isn't just a number, it is your power move. Let's go make it together. See you at cashflowmike.com.